Hey, good morning. It's about almost 10 o'clock on a Saturday morning. I've got a lot of errands to run because I'm traveling tomorrow off into the jungle. So I thought you might want to come along with me and see what a normal day is. It's around the first of the month, so that means there's always bills to pay. And today I'm going to be off paying, let's see, I've got to pay my cell phone bill, and electric bills. This corner is just about a block from my house. The lady across the street with the fruit I buy from pretty often. Across the corner is Rosita's Peluqueria. She cuts my hair every so often, although right now I need it, but I decided I'm gonna wait till I get back. Looks like the buses are already starting to get full. Saturdays are usually not as bad as they are on the weekdays when people are going back and forth to work, kids are going to school, but it's still a pretty busy day for bus traffic. The street is the Bacchus Brewery. Anybody who's ever grown up around a brewery knows the smell of a brewery and the beer. Uh, Fortunately, the wind doesn't blow toward my apartment, so I don't get the smell all the time. But every once in a while, depending on where I am, you sure can smell it. It's very distinctive if you live around one. Across the street is an indoor pool, which is really popular during the summer when the kids are out. The school is connected to the Clorinda Mato de Turner, which is one of the biggest private schools in Cusco. I don't know how well you can hear it, but they're practicing for the band right now. I can hear the drums going. It's just another typical day here. Lots of traffic. That's in front of the school. The big street here that I just crossed is Avenida de la Cultura, which is the main street that runs all the way the length of Cusco, or almost all the way. Just a block down is another huge school called Garcilaso. However, I'm going to walk down toward what, I don't know what you'd really call it, but the bank district. At least it is in my neighborhood, where most of the major banks in Cusco have a branch, which is kind of handy. There's also a place where I can exchange dollars into soles. This particular street is just full of I don't know what you'd call it, kind of Home Depot shops. Flooring, um, what else? Stuff for your walls, toiletry stuff like bathrooms, sinks, all kinds of stuff along here. Ooh, I've got to cross over the street, which is always a challenge, to the Scotiabank because it has a relationship with my Bank of America back in the US. And I'm going to withdraw some dollars, which I can do for no commission there, which is kind of nice. Do that, I'll go to that little place on the end of the block where you see Dolores, and that's where I'll exchange my money because they give me a consistent rate and it's fair and honest. And then I probably won't deposit anything to the bank because I'm traveling tomorrow, so I'll just carry cash with me. Okay, I've got my money. Gosh, the exchange rate has just bottomed out in the last few months since the administration in the US changed. The value of the dollar around the world has just plummeted. It's an awful lot of traffic. I'm not sure what the reason is, but usually this means there's a protest march going on somewhere. Okay, next up, I'm going to make my way down to the electric company office. The electric company here is called Electro Sur de Este, or uh, Southeast Electric. I really don't have to go down there. Fortunately, intersections without streetlights are a major pain to cross. In fact, I would even call them dangerous because people are usually looking all over the place to make sure they don't hit a car. And with their head on a swivel, they often are not even going to see a pedestrian. So you have to be extremely careful. It's not something I enjoy doing. But I'm going to get lucky and cross over easily that time. Trust me, it often, in fact, usually doesn't happen that way. Sometimes I have to wait a long time before I can find a spot where I can dart across the road. This big traffic circle or roundabout is much easier to cross. In fact, it's going to be pretty easy today because there are traffic police keeping things in line. I don't even have to wait to cross. Across the street is the big Pachacutec Tower. It's a cool little museum and tower. You can go in and go almost to the top and get some views of the city. We've got all kinds of exhibits in there on Peruvian, mostly Cusco history, but it's worth going in to visit. It's part of the tourist ticket that a lot of people buy to go. In fact, most people buy. For some reason, the middle of the avenue is closed off. Looks like for a long way down I can't even remember the name of this street. Even though it's one of the major streets in Cusco. I'm about 3 blocks from the electric company's offices. Unfortunately, I need to be on the sunny side, so keep your fingers crossed that I don't get sunburned. I know I mentioned this before, but I just can't get over how heavy is traffic today. I mean, everywhere. I'm a good ways from the Plaza de Armas where most protests happen, and it's still super heavy traffic. All the little street vendors have their kiosks set up because people love to buy things on the street to eat. It's so cheap. You can spend 50 cents and get a big meal. And not only will it fill you up, it tastes good too. I've been working on this street for a long time. Looks like it's finally getting close. And across the street is the electric company office. Yeah, the sound of horns is what you kind of live with here. It's one of the things that I've learned to hate and never learn to deal with. Well, maybe I deal with it a little bit, but it's one of the things that everybody else just I think just lets go, but not me. I'm not going to try to film in here. I'm sure they wouldn't let me anyway, but now I'm going to run inside the office and pay my bills. Okay, that was quick and easy. Compared to the US, electricity is so much cheaper. I mean, so much cheaper, and that's compared to prices in the US and Texas 7 years ago. I can't imagine what prices are now, since the government is trying to do their best to raise the prices. Things here is people, when they get stuff off the street to eat, they just sit down, and a lot of times, depending on what it is, of course, they'll just slap it into a bowl that they already have waiting, and people will eat on a stool like this gentleman's doing right next to the vendor. This little stretch, there are lots of places that take people, especially workers, to the mines down in the southern part of the Cusco region. You can also catch a ride to Abancay or Puno here, or Juliaca actually. But this is how people get around. They take these little shared cars to wherever they need to go. And then if they need to go somewhere else, they can grab another one. And then eventually you could go anywhere you want just by catching these little rides. The problem is it's sometimes hard to know where they can be found. Here's another view of the Pachacutec Oval. Saturday morning, it's almost 11 o'clock now. Quite a bit of traffic. I hope you like this little running commentary that I do. I know people do videos where they walk and talk, but they don't tell you about anything, probably because they don't know. But since this is my home and I do know, I like to explain things. Not only does it make it a little more interesting, I think, but people coming here can learn more about the place they're coming to visit. Let's hope I can get across here fairly easily. All right, looks like a good spot to run across right now. Things that everyone here knows is that if you want to predict the weather, look towards the north, maybe east, northeast, because that's where the storms come from. I know exactly where to look out. What if I don't get run over here? All right, because that's where things come from. If the clouds are dark, there's a good chance you're going to have rain coming. If they're clear, that means you're going to have clear skies for at least for a while, depending on what comes over the mountains. Now I'm making my way back towards home, except I'm going to turn off and go to the mall, where I'm going to try to get some work done, grab some coffee and some lunch. It's a shame it's such a pretty day, but since I need to get things done before I travel, I'm going to take it easy and just relax. I generally try to walk about 12,000 steps a day. Sometimes, especially this past week, I've been averaging about 16,000, which is quite a bit more, and obviously it's good for my health. And doing it so at this high altitude and in the mountains in Cusco makes a big difference. I think I'm going to take you up by the stadium. It's probably as good a shortcut as any to get to the mall. It seats about 45,000 people and hosts 3 Division I teams, all of which are some of the top teams in Peru, right, this year at least. A couple of weeks ago, all 3 teams were in the top 6 or top 8. I can't remember exactly. in the entire Division One league. Pretty impressive. So we get a lot of really good football here. The bad part about going this way, and really I guess there's probably no other way I can do this. I'm gonna have to climb no matter what, but I have to climb uphill. Even though climbing up hills and mountains is part of life here, it's still tough. I know people get out of breath, say, oh, the altitude's killing me. But the truth is, I think, in fact, I know this will make you tired, even if you're at sea level. Here's our stadium, Garcilaso, Estadio Garcilaso. As I said, it seats 45,000 people, which is not huge, but it's still pretty good size. Unfortunately, the quality of Peruvian football is probably not what you would expect if you keep up with other South American teams, especially Brazil and Argentina, which are two world powerhouses. But it's still pretty good, and the passion of the fans is no different here than it is anywhere else. There was a lot of remodeling done during the pandemic, and it really looks much, much better than it did 6 years ago. Here's a sign on the wall telling you how much tickets are. Keep in mind that each ticket is about, or each sola is about, let me rephrase that. Every dollar gets you about 3.5 soles. So on the norte side, the north, that's a little under $10 for a ticket. On the occidente side, which is the nice side, the home side, you're looking at around $14, $15 a ticket. Not bad for First Division South American football. And that's for one of the bigger teams in all of Peru. Universitario, I believe, won the first half of the Division One. They divide things up into two halves. We're in the second half right now. Everywhere on game day, you can, if you want to go to the game at the last minute, you can find people selling tickets, depending on the game and the opponent. Sometimes the tickets are cheap, sometimes they're a little more expensive. It all depends on supply and demand. Across the street is Plaza Tupac Amaru Segundo, named after Tupac Amaru II, who is famous in Peru and a legend in this area because this is where he's from. He led a short-lived but violent revolution against Spain in, I believe, the 1780s and was brutally executed. I'm not going to describe what happened, but it was horrible how he was treated by the Spanish government. Obviously, they were making a point. This is where I got most of my, I don't say most, but a lot of my furniture when I moved here. Piece by piece, I bought things, especially bookshelves. But you can get all kinds of stuff here. Lots of little stalls along the sidewalks, all through the middle. It's a cool little place to walk around. If you see a foreigner here, you're probably going to be surprised, because this is definitely a local market. Here's a police station. Looks like they've got recruits doing some work out in front right now. It's been a long, long time since I've been here. To be honest, this is a pretty cool little market. Definitely worth taking the time to visit. I'm not sure if this is a private or public hospital. I know it's very, very busy. I have a feeling it's a public hospital, but I'm not positive. These little shopping malls are made up of little stalls, sometimes hundreds of them. You can buy food. They almost always have a restaurant section, and you can buy lots and lots of things here. You learn what more of them provide as you spend time exploring. Find street vendors anywhere you go in Peru. These folks are selling peaches. If you're from North Texas, where I'm from, peaches, especially from west of Fort Worth and the Weatherford area, are super common. It was one of the things we could get, one of the kinds of fruits that we could get fresh, at least in season. Here, things are almost in season year round because we're so close to the jungle that they come in constantly. And a lot of them are grown just in the Sacred Valley, 45 minutes to an hour, hour and a half away. Thought I'd give you an idea of what apartments look like. These are very much typical apartments for typical normal people. Nothing fancy, but they're comfortable and you're around good neighbors most of the time. Instead of walking down Avenida de la Cultura, which is usually what I do, because it's the main street of town, I'm just gonna go somewhere different. Sometimes go down this street, whose name I can't even remember, because it's just a different break. I don't see the same things. Saturday mornings are always jam-packed. I always like that little mural across the way. I think that office over there is basically the Ministry of Work, and Cusco has its own employment offices over there to help people get jobs. Here are lots of little shops, for lack of a better word, where you can go in and get tested for a psychological exam. It's required for, as I understand, for things like driver's licenses. Even basic driver's license, you have to have a psychological exam as part of the many requirements. They're not expensive, and I understand they're pretty easy, but you still have to get one. Across the street is the Salud Hospital, which is probably the biggest in Cusco. And across the street from it to the right is the water company office. I'll have to be there in a few days to go pay our water bill. I don't know if you've noticed all the little restaurants, and big and small, everywhere I've been so far. But that's how it is all across Peru, because people tend to eat out, especially during weekdays and on work days. You can get a really filling meal that will hold you off all day for around, probably $2.5, $3 US. That's hard to beat. And if you're working and you don't have much time, that's a good deal, because you don't have time to go home for sure. Look at how busy this little sandwich shop or kiosk on the side of the street is. She's selling butifarras, which is, I believe, ham sandwiches. It's really good and probably costs about 50 cents. Besides all the medical related shops across from the hospital along this particular street are lots and lots of funeral homes. They operate differently from in the US because people put the bodies of their relatives in a special place, but the people who handle it, as well as handle the flowers, are in little places like this, all over the place. This is probably where you'd go if you needed a coffin. It's a little depressing, but funerals in Peru are much more of a, I don't want to say more, but they're probably equally celebrations of life as they are sadness of losing someone. During the COVID pandemic, this was really not a particularly good district to be in because we went through a pretty hard time like everywhere else in the world. And it was sad because you saw lots of people crying. I always hoped it was because someone was sick and not that they passed away, but we lost thousands of people here. The street is it's called IPD or IPD, the Peruvian Sports Institute's complex here in Cusco. Besides a Coliseum where they host lots of indoor sports, they also host concerts there every once in a while. There's a really nice track on the other side, which of course, if you know me, that got my attention. This place is just super popular, especially on pretty days like this. This particular section underneath the pull-out sun covers, 1, 2, 3, 4, looks like 5 different volleyball courts set up, and the kids are having a great time. Lots of kiosks selling things here on this particular corner. Can't remember how much it cost to get in. Used to be 2 soles, but that was a long time ago. You mentioned transportation and knowing where to find how to get different places. Well, that's for the buses that go to Urcos, about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours down the valley. You know how much it costs to do that? And a nice, comfortable bus? About $1.50. That's how cheap transportation is here. Even on this side street where things are usually a little slower, there's still lots and lots of traffic. There's a couple of private clinics here sitting between the Salud Hospital and the regional hospital a block over to the left. This particular clinic on the left, Clinica Maxalud, is where I spent 4 days when I had some heart issues back, I guess almost 4 years ago now. Doing fine now though, so. So you get closer to the mall. This is just a typical street. Pizza Express sure does sound good across the way. I actually thought about getting pizza when I get to the mall for lunch. Okay, I'm back on La Cultura. The mall is about a block away on the other side of the street. This is a big bus stop here. We call them paraderos here, the bus stops. This particular one is named Prado. I have no idea exactly why this particular one is called Prado, but that's what it is. And this is the best place to cross the street. In any of my other videos about Cusco, you probably know buses are how most people get around if they're not walking. One thing for people like me that like their little toys, electronics in Peru are very expensive, but that shop across the sidewalk called Full Tech is where I've learned that I can get things quickly and pretty cheaply in Cusco instead of having to wait to go to Lima to get the best prices. Okay, Saturday at the mall. On holidays, this sidewalk is lined with vendors on both sides, and it's extremely crowded. It takes a while to get through. I'm kind of surprised today that it's not crowded right now and not full of vendors, but that's okay. I can deal with that for sure. This is the entrance to our mall. We only have one mall in Cusco, Real Plaza, and it's pretty popular, as you can imagine. The way that people get around besides walking in buses, by the way, there is a bus stop right outside the entrance just behind me, are taxis. Taxis are really popular when people are coming out with a lot of bags of things that they bought. Really don't like me filming here, so I'm just going to do the entrance and then turn it off and go upstairs to show you something where I think I can get away with it. It's as modern a mall as you'll find in Peru for sure. Really nice, lots of places to shop, lots of places that at least people from the US would recognize for certain. So before security sees me and tells me to turn this off, I'm gonna head down and find my coffee shop. The food court at the mall has a pretty nice selection like most places. I broke down and got a pizza from Pizza Hut. Right next to it is a Papa John's, which has been here a long time. Auto Grill has all kinds of literally grilled meats. There's a Popeye's fried chicken, China Walk, which has Peruvian Asian fusion, Burger King, and a KFC on the other side. The manager of the KFC I've known for a long, long time. Okay, I'm full of pizza, drank a little too much coffee, and didn't get a whole lot done. So right now, I'm making my way back toward home. May change my mind after I walk a little of this pizza off. But in the meantime, I thought I'd go a different way. I went around behind the mall, and I'm now walking along Koyasuyo. Koyasuyo. No, I think it's Koyasuyo. Anyway, this is along the general path, if not the exact path, of one of the original 4 main roads that led out of Inca Cusco. This road led all the way down into Bolivia. I had thought about hiking up into the mountains above the mall, but for one thing, it's a pretty decent climb. And 2, there's a lot of black clouds up there, and I really don't want to get caught in the rain because it's very hard to tell what's on the other side of the mountains. All right, I've got a few blocks to go and I'll be home. To be honest, I'm tired, still stuffed with pizza, and I hear some thunder rumbling just a few hundred meters to the east. So I think it's probably time I went and found a place to relax inside for a while. So if you like this, please let me know. This is usually a busy bus stop because it's the only one that gets people from the market, Rosas Pata, up ahead a little ways, that takes folks back home up into the mountains to the east along the busy Pisac Road. There are 3 villages up there that are decent size. A lot of people go back and forth, plus all the people that live up on the side of the mountain in Cusco. Down below is Mercado de Rosas Patas. Rosas Patas. No, I said that right the first time, Rosas Pata. Anyway, it's a pretty busy market. It's a local market, a real local market. And I'd be shocked if you ever saw a foreigner down there. I've never seen anyone in many, many years. Here's a little better view of the market. You can see the folks lined up all alongside the street, plus the main market itself. If you're here with me and you enjoyed this, please give it a like and don't hesitate to subscribe. But more than anything, leave your comments. I'd love to hear what people think about these, because I honestly am usually making up what I'm doing because I don't know what people want to see. And since I live here and I'm retired, I got time to do just about anything to show you my world in Cusco and in Peru. I'll be in the jungle in a couple of days. Got a lot of stuff planned for there, though I may not do any of it. A lot depends on the weather because it's supposed to be wet on Tuesday, which I'm not excited about, but that's part of going to the rainforest. 3 blocks of one last steep hill to climb, and then there's a little short downhill to home. So I'm getting close if I can survive this. Since I'm here, I need to show you all the murals at this one particular corner. There's a lot of cool stuff here. I don't know who did it. It looks like different styles, but it's really some beautiful artwork. Something you don't see in town, but you see out in the rural areas all the time. See that red flag kind of on the end of a stick? That means they sell chicha, which is a fermented corn drink that's really popular, has been for centuries. You just don't see that in the city. Whoa, last hill's behind me. I can see the black clouds have moved around. Haven't heard anything in 10 or 15 minutes, so I'm gonna be home safe and dry. This is a nice little street that goes downhill to my apartment. They redid it several years ago. Enlarged the sidewalks, made sidewalks in places where there really weren't. It's a lot nicer road to walk on. I know all the neighbors sure appreciate it. That's my neighborhood across the street. It's a fairly decent block and fairly well known. But first, I'm going to stop into Market Mary. This is where I've been doing my local shopping for a long time. You see the dog on the corner there? His name is Dottie, D-A-D-I. Really, really friendly. He's been looking at me since I stopped here, waiting on me to come and see him. So that's what I'm going to do. Grab some things in the store and go to the house. As I said before, thanks again for watching, and please leave some comments, and if you like it, please hit the like button. I sure would appreciate it, especially comments. Thanks again, and I'll see you in the next one.